Hello and welcome to UFC Fight Night Kavanagh versus Moreno in UFC Mexico City. We've got this obviously at elevation, so that is going to play a factor in these fights. Let's get to it. So we've got Damian Pinaz versus Wes Schultz. Man, Wes Schultz is a cool dude. Cool dude. If you want a guy I quite like, if you like an American, a dopey sort of chill American dude, he's your guy. He's a cool guy. Go watch an interview of him. And yeah, he's a well-rounded guy. He's got submissions. He's a very good grappler. Is probably his best asset. On the feet, he's susceptible to getting hit, but has a decent amount of power and will go forward, throw head kicks, throw hands. But yeah, just keeps his head on the center line quite heavily when moving forward anyway with strikes. When defensively, when he's on the back foot, he doesn't do a bad job of slipping and moving, but still gets tagged pretty badly by straight shots. But yeah, his grappling is a standout in this area. Again, fighting Damian Pinaz, you don't really want to strike with this guy on the feet too much. He's a very, very green guy. Very, very green. His record is something like 8-1 against 8-2. So they're both pretty green, but Wes Schultz is a much more well-rounded skill set. It's Wes Schultz is trying to get better on the feet, and Pinaz is trying to get better on the ground. It's just which one you pick. I think Damian Pinaz, although has shown some deficiency in his grappling and takedown defense specifically, over his past two fights, he's getting a lot better. He's been using the Wizard a lot, and he's obviously a strong dude, so he's able to use the Wizard to just keep people off him, keep these takedowns from being completed, and keep himself on the feet. Even if he ends up against cage, he does end up just like hanging about against cage, but he does do well at not getting too gassed and not getting out of himself, not getting taken down, not getting put in bad spots too much. What he does have on his game is a really nice 1-2. He does a lot of like slow, lazy, heavy-handed punches, and then he just suddenly switches on and then throws a lovely 1-2. And that is what worries me in this fight. I think the 1-2 is going to land at some point in this fight. I think Wes Schultz has a gassing issue in the second round. So, yeah, would not be surprised if we saw Damian Pinaz knock out Wes Schultz. For me, that's the pick. I'm gutted to say I do love Wes Schultz, but I mean, I'll be rooting for the sub. But I think if I was going to bet, I'd probably go the knockout for Pinaz. What have we got next? Next, we have Eric Silva versus Francis Marshall. So Eric Silva is a big dude, quite old compared to Marshall especially, and he just gassed super hard in the second round. He's got a double leg. He's generally a grappler, submission artist sort of thing, but he's not really done it. He's done it on the regional scene so much, not so much in the UFC. And Francis Marshall's super legit. He's legit everywhere. There's a reason why he's a massive favorite in this fight. He's good volume, decent amount of power, good grappler, decent subs. For me, what's gonna happen in this fight is we're gonna see Eric Silva shoot, not do well, get pieced up by Marshall, continue to gas, and carry on shooting, and then we're gonna see Marshall defend these takedowns, and I think find the neck. We saw in his fight against Gomez that he will look for subs. He wasn't able to get Gomez, but he got pretty close, and he would have won that fight if he did, obviously. But that's an analyst's brain there for you, mate. I'm analysing fights, seeing patterns. If you get a sub, you win. And that's what I think is going to happen in this fight. I think Francis Marshall is going to find a sub on Eric Silva. Eric Silva, bit too comfortable having a guy on his back. We saw it in his last fight, and I think Francis Marshall is going to find himself here. I think it's going to be nice odds. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it at 4-1 outright, and I pick second, third round Francis Marshall sub. You might get it at like 6-1. So I think it's going to be a good spot. I wouldn't be surprised if he knocked him out, but it's going to be worth hitting. I think there's a lot of favourites that are justifiably so on this card. As I've said for the past few weeks, the bookies are doing a lot better on these cards this year. They're doing a lot better. We'll see if that falters, but so far they've done very well. And yeah, I think we're going to have to find specifics. I think Francis Marshall sneakily is going to get a sub on Eric Silva. Montenegro versus Ernesta Casagreta. So Casagreta is previously was a swimmer, professional swimmer, but now she's actually a very decent mixed martial artist. She's got straight shots. She's a long girl. She's got decent takedowns, decent top control. She's just quite a good for a quite unseasoned mixed martial artist. She's quite a well-seasoned brain for a mixed martial artist. She knows when to give space. She knows when to let a girl fall into strikes. She knows when to go first. She's got a great gas tank. So yeah, I mean Montenegro, she's a dog. We saw if you saw a Contender Series fight, she's an absolute dog. She surprised me in that fight how well she did. I did back the other girl, I think, in that fight. to win, just because she's the cleanest striker. But Montenegro did very well. She did very well, and yeah, she showed that she's got heart. She can clonk a girl, got good power, decent enough gas tank. But her takedown defense is a little bit sus for me here, and I think the distance that Ernest is going to be able to strike at is going to deal a little bit of issues for Montenegro. I think the takedown is going to deal issues for Montenegro, and yeah, I'm going to go Karishketa by decision. Douglas da Silva de Andrade versus Javier Reyes. So this one, man, like 5 years ago, I'll be all over Andrade. I think Reyes is all right. He's a very vetted guy. He's had like a million amateur fights, and he's sort of he's a guy who looks like he's happy and enjoys fighting guys who are lower level than him. When he's lost by knockout and decision, I think he's if I'm not mistaken, he doesn't really like fighting unless he's winning. And I think this is going to be a fight which is not the easiest fight for him, but Andrade has not been throwing as many strikes as he used to. He's not been throwing as many. He still throws really nice combos. He does a lot of good job at, he can do spinning kicks. He's just a very unorthodox guy. He does a lot of feinting, a lot of drifting towards you, but these days he's just not throwing that much. He's 40 years old. Mexico City, I think he's going to be really not throwing too much. I think Azarev, who's got decent work on the back foot, he's got nice straight shots. He's got decent leg kicks, decent head kicks, but an all-rounder sort of guy. I mean, we're seeing a lot of all-rounder sort of guys these days, but he likes the two down the pipe. He likes his hands. He likes the straight shots. I think he's going to be able to keep Andrade off him. I think he's going to find a lot of opportunities to score, and I think he's going to probably just win this by decision. I don't see it being a knockout. I think Andrade is a really tough dude. I don't think Reyes is all that, to be honest with you. He will make it to take down Reyes as well, so he might just get some ground control. But yeah, for me, Reyes by decision is pretty lucky. Quinones versus Chris Moutinho. Man, Chris Moutinho has been had a rough career. He has. Came to the UFC, got fucked up by O'Malley, then dipped out of the UFC, then won a few fights against some regional guys, and then came back in and got fucked up against Wellmaker, is it, if I'm not mistaken? And yeah, rough one. Now he's fighting another guy who is a very decent striker, a guy who can quite easily knock you out, and I think he's going to do that. I think Moutinho has not changed, unfortunately, in his career. He's a guy who has always fought with his face first. He tends to just wade into shots and just try and be like the small guy who's bullying you around, but he's not got that much power in his hands. He's not got that much danger of the grappling. So he has not that much success. He ends up being a punching bag because he hasn't got many weapons. He just hasn't got many weapons to do anything in there, really. And he's fighting a guy, Quinones, who's just a bigger dude. He hits much harder. He's a decent striker. He does a really nice job of... he generally works with his hands, but does a really nice job of throwing a jab just to cover your eyes and then popping the straight down the pipe to knock you out. And yeah, I just think this is going to be... the southpaw as well, which is not a good thing for Moutinho, because he's going to find it more difficult to get inside the pocket. I mean, he's going to get more opportunities for Quinones' rear hand. So yeah, Quinones by KO. Moutinho's a tough dude, so second and third round, wouldn't be surprised, but Quinones by KO is just pretty decent money. Aiden Perez versus Macy Chazon. So Aiden Perez, a jittery grappler primarily. She has hands and she does a nice job of slipping and ripping. She has a nice overhand. She will jitter you, and then throw it overhand and then mix that in with the double leg as well. And she's a pretty big girl, so she has takedown. She has success holding girls down. She's moving down a weight class as her second fight at bantamweight. And I just think it's just not great for her, to be honest. I think she's at a speed disadvantage more than she even was at featherweight, which she somewhat was. She's tall, but height really never offers that much of a benefit at these women's weight classes, from my opinion, because it's not like you can do that much more damage with the height. It's not like you can... Macy Chazon especially is not that much of a clean striker. And these always end up becoming wars between these girls, so it doesn't really offer you that much of a benefit. If you're a clean striker who can pop you from range, then yeah, being a tall, longish striker, then you'd be great, like MVP. But being a sort of unclean dog, which Macy Chazon is, it doesn't really bode you that well. I think Perez is going to have the athleticism, the strength, and the speed to be able to do better against Chazon than Chazon's going to do against Perez. And I see Perez getting control time. I see her landing more on the feet. Shizun doesn't really have that much of a head movement, so she's just going to get tagged. Yeah, for me, it's not a hard pick here. Again, we're going for mostly favourites. There is one underdog layer on the card, which I do like. And my boy Chai's going to hate it. But yeah, I do like it. So yeah, Perez by decision. I think it's pretty likely. I think Shizun, she's on a little bit of a streak, but she just every time she faces these girls who can defend takedowns and are decent enough strikers, she just doesn't do very well. I think it's another one of those. Ryan Granda versus Jose Daniel Medina. Medina's so tough. He's so tough. He's decently tough, but he also gets hit loads and not very good as a mixed martial artist. So we're gonna see Ryan Granda knock him out. I'm pretty sure. Ryan Granda's a guy who just throws overhands, not overhands, but like hooks mostly. But he's got long arms, despite the reach being the same. He's a tall dude. He's able to land a lot better. I think the reach here is probably a little bit skewed. But yeah, he's just going to be able to land on Medina. He's going to be going forward. He's going to be the guy clomping him. Medina's not got that much head movement. And yeah, Ryan Granda's not a very approved guy, but I think he's just going to be the bigger, more athletic, dangerous guy in there. And yeah, I go Ryan Granda KO. But if you believe the Medina chin hype, then yeah, go for the Granda decision. Santiago Luna versus Pacheco. So for me, this is a great spot. I do like this one a lot, I think. Luna is he's a heavy-handed dude, very heavy-handed dude who does really well in exchanges, but primarily he's a grappler, which is actually a really nice thing to see when you're looking at a fighter. If they're primarily a grappler, but actually a decent striker who's happy to exchange and has power, it's a dangerous mix. It's a very dangerous. Think about Derek Brunson. He did very well as a heavy-handed grappler. And because you have the danger of the takedowns, and then when they're like, oh shit, I need to exchange with this guy because this is my only chance because he's going to take me down at some point. He's going to try and take me down. They are able to clonk you, and he's got a plan B to go back to. If he doesn't get the takedown, he's able to go back to the hands and has a lot of success there. He's knocked down, I think he's past 3 opponents, if I'm not mistaken. And yeah, Pacheco, unfortunately, he's got an alright skill set, but he's just a brawler. He wants to stand in front of you, wants to trade punches with you, and that's really all he's got. His technical defense is okay, but not amazing. So, yeah, I mean, for me, I think we're going to see Luna shoot takedown, Pacheco defend it, and then they're going to trade. I think Luna's going to drop him, and then I think Luna's going to come for the neck. Because realistically, Luna, despite being heavy-handed and knocking people out and knocking people down, he generally wants to get a neck. And I think Pacheco's shown alright sub-defense, but it's not great. He's like a 50% all over the shop, so he's decent at everything, but he's not actually very good at anything. And I think Luna's got a real nasty rear naked choke. He will grab a neck and crank this shit out. So I think we're going to see Luna get a sub here. I think he's going to fuck up Pacheco, to be honest with you. Emmanuel Rodriguez versus Kevin Borges. This is an interesting one here, I think. Rodriguez is a young dude who is now training with DC, so he's improving his wrestling and stuff like that, but primarily a striker. He generally throws combos, boxing combos primarily, but will throw a few kicks in here and there. He does a really nice job of like keeping a lot of space between you and him, and then darting in and darting out when he wants to. His issue is that if he gets pushed up, like pressed with his footwork, he ends up getting jabbed. He will get jabbed and snap back his head pretty badly. His punch defense looked alright, but not outrageous. Doesn't move his head all that well. Borjas is just an all-round very good striker. He's had a really tough time in the UFC because of just matchups have just been horrible. But yeah, generally he's a good striker. Got good kicks, got good hands. He's got very nice like jab. Is primarily my favorite of his weapons, which is why I think this fight is so interesting. We're going to see whether or not Rodriguez is able to do the work without getting stabbed himself. This is the one where I'm 50-50, very much 50-50. Borges doesn't do enough for me to win these rounds, unfortunately, which is why I lose a lot of these fights. So for that reason, I'm going to take Rodriguez by decision, because I think Borges is a pretty tough dude. But I would not be surprised if we saw Rodriguez gas and Borges come in with a jab and just piece him up and fuck him up in the second, third round. Against motivation in this one, I think Borges, if he's motivated, he could win this fight. Show this young guy that he can do the business. But I think we're going to see the young lion come in here and, you know, fuck up another young guy. They're both young dudes. But, yeah, I think he's the less worn out guy. He's got more of an undefeated mentality. Is he actually undefeated? Let me check. Yeah, undefeated 6-0. So he's got the undefeated mentality. He doesn't want to lose. He's not really got that mentality of losing. I think Borges is more willing to allow fighters to do their work on him, whereas I think Rodriguez is going to be fighting back in every single moment. So yeah, Iman Rodriguez by decision. I think he's going to win 2 rounds. Edgar Chariaz versus Felipe Bunez. So this fight, I mean, the striking is... They're both close in both areas, to be honest with you. They're both good grapplers. I think Bunez has the slightly better, a slight edge with the submission offense and the grappling in general. He's also the guy that's going to be looking to take you down, whereas Chariaz is going to be looking to defend the takedowns. Chariaz's got good hands. He's got good power in the hands. He's got great combos, good timing on stuff as well. Felipe Bunez, and good defense in general, to be honest with you. If you watch, I mean, both these guys have fought Joshua Van. Both look sick. Chariaz look a lot sicker. Almost knocked out Joshua Van. But yeah, the issue here is Chariaz should win this fight. He's got decent takedowns, but he does a lot of jumping for gillies in these situations, which is just such a bad decision. But he does have the better hands, and he's the more dangerous guy. Felipe Bunez does gas somewhat, but he is the guy looking to take you down. So it's whether or not like Felipe Bunez has a game plan of just looking to take this man down, because he can get those takedowns. And Sherry's got to have the game plan of like not go for the gilly, defend these takedowns. I've worked on my takedown defense for 3 months or what the fuck, and yeah, he should be able to win this fight pretty easily. Felipe Bunez has got good defense on the back foot, but still gets hit quite badly. So yeah, my pick is Sharia KO second and third round. I think we're going to see Bunez gas. He gasses. He does gas things in grey. He's got 1 round of gas, but he doesn't love going in second and third. So I think we're going to see Sharia as the more dangerous dude on the feet get this KO second and third round over Bunez. Daniel Zellhuber versus King Green. This is a tricky one, to be honest with you. It's not that easy because it's one of those ones that Zellhuber, King Green, we know what he's going to like. He's going to be doing that, standing in front of you, walking towards you, looking at you, jab, looking at you, feint, postulate, check a leg kick or move out the way leg kicks, jab you. He puts a lot of pressure on the front foot, and he does do a decent amount of volume on the front foot. He's been doing slightly better against competition that he feels really comfortable with. Zellhuber, his last fight against MJ was not my favourite of his. MJ has been looking better and better, and he's again a guy who's got very fast hands, good reactions, all that sort of stuff, but he is 40. Zellhuber really made a really bad game plan decision there because he just got really scared of the hands, so he stopped throwing them whatsoever. In the third round, he basically just threw kicks, and it just meant that if you don't land a devastating kick, it just doesn't do that. It doesn't look as devastating as a punch. On the scorecards especially, it just doesn't look like you can do way more volume with the punches. If you snap someone's head back, it looks way better than kicking against the guard, which is what he did a lot of in that fight. So it was a worrying fight to see for Zellhuber. I do think Zellhuber has got hands, but he's a hittable guy. I picked Ribovic to beat him in that fight. I think it was like 2-1 dog because I thought that he's a guy who can get hit. If you get on the inside of him, you can hit him. But Bobby Green doesn't do a lot of slipping and ripping. He does a lot more wait for you to miss, then jab you. Wait for you to miss, then two. And I'm not sure how this fight is going to play out, really. Is King Green going to be able to get on the inside of this tall motherfucker or not? It says 5'11" here, but they are not the same height, surely. This is me using Google's fucking what was it called, stats and shit here, which is just killing me. Yeah, 6'1". I don't know why Google's giving me that, but yeah, he's 6'1". Much taller dude. Switch stances. He's an alright guy. Zellhuber, I think I'm believing slightly in Zellhuber being able to get this one done. Not by KO, but I do think he's going to be able to win a decision there. Be the guy who's throwing more, who's able to keep him on the outside. I think he's got to be training that shit. Yeah, pick his Zellhuber by decision. Marlon Vera versus David Martinez. So this one is the underdog pick for the night. And you boys be thinking, is he really going to fucking bet on Marlon Vera, who does nothing in fights, who allows the fights just to float by like a ship in the sea? And yeah, I am. I think in fights he's had previously, he's had guys that have been defensively sound, who have been floating on the outside, who have been moving away from him the whole time, circling away from his power, all that sort of stuff. David Martinez has got to be the most hittable guy that he's fought in a while. Let's have a quick look at Marlon Vera's career, in the recent career. Zahabi, who did a really good job of not throwing too much and just landing shots when he needed to, grappling, things like that, and he won a split decision. David Figueroa, who took him down, grappled him, which can happen. Sean O'Malley, very good guy from the outside, who can do that business from the outside. And Corey Sandhagen. You know, they're 4 losses against really good guys. I don't hate it at all. You know, the guys he's beaten, Pedro Munoz, who is going to be similar to David Martinez, hittable, weighed in, coming at ya, all that sort of shit. You know, Rob Font was his very impressive wins where he was able to be a guy who's going to come in and do all that business towards you. Frank Edgar, another guy coming towards you. He's going to be on the straight line coming towards you. And I think David Martinez is really not that defensively sound. So I'm back in Molinaro here, man. I think David Martinez is a tough dude. I think he's going to be the last 3 rounds, but I'm back in Molinaro. I think he's tough enough. I think he's got dangerous enough weapons, and I think he's been realizing that he needs to be doing a bit more. He's been slowly doing more in these fights, and I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity for catch counters, which is really what he wants to do. He wants you to throw a combo at him, and then he'll throw a leg kick back, he'll throw a left hand back, he'll throw a straight shot down the pipe, and I think he's going to be able to hit Martinez more than people are realizing. So yeah, David Martinez is going to be the volume, but I think we're going to see the power land from Molinaro. I think we're going to see him do bits in this one, to be honest with you. If not, I will never ever bet on Molinaro in my life ever again. Last fight, we got Brandon Moreno versus Loda Kavanagh. So Brandon Moreno is as I'm sure you know, better dude. A guy with decent boxing, decent grappling. He got fucked up by Tazutari last fight, but Tazutari's an absolute freak. So yeah, was not his best showing, but he's generally a very well-rounded dude who's got good counters. And for me, I've seen you can see him slow down. He's not been himself. He's not been the dog that he used to be in his most recent fights, and I think that's what worries me in this one. I think we're going to see an absolute dog versus a medium dog in Moreno. Moreno is, generally does all this shit, front foot, blah, 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 baiting you in to throw, so that, and land throw on his leg kicks so he can try and throw something back at you. I think Kavanagh's just so fucking quick with the leg kicks. His timing is quite good, and he's got good, a sense around what you're trying to do. If he sees that you're trying to catch one of his shots and throw at him or bait you into something, he will mix up and go down, mix up and throw low. Do you know what I mean? Things like that. And I think he's going to do that pretty well. I think Moreno's going to be a little bit of a following in this one. I think he's going to be following Kavanagh. Moreno's last few fights have been against a lot more ploddy, forward-moving strikers. Or maybe not in strikers, but just people who are going to be right in front of him, who are going to allow him to stand and do that trunk movement shit, move on his fucking, what was it called? Move his trunk, which just means like head movement, all do all this shit, rather than actually moving your feet. Steve Erceg, a lot of just standing in front of you. Albazi, a lot more of a planted guy, plodding towards you. Brandon Royval, again, a guy who's plodding towards you and he lost that fight, but, Pantoja, dangerous dude. He hasn't fought a guy that's moving quite as much and has quite as much speed as Kavanagh, and I think we're going to see him do bits. I worry about Kavanagh's gas tank, especially because of Mexico City, so I would not be surprised. And if you see Kavanagh winning 3 rounds, and then he looks fading in the end of the third, hit that Brandon Moreno line live bet, because that is worth a pop. He's gonna be looking there for the finish. I think it's Moreno finish late or Kavanagh by decision. For me, I think Kavanagh's going to win this by decision. I think he's got the skills. I think he's got the speed. I think he's got the athleticism. I think he's got to take on defense, crucially as well, to get this one done. That is the picks of the night. Last week we did not do great. There was a little bit of fucking nonsense going on, but I think a lot of people didn't do that well. I mean, fucking Anthony Deja, man, you fucking basically knocked him out, but he chose to grapple. Insane, insane. Anthony Hernandez shooting 1 takedown in 3. Insane. But this week, this is what we're looking at. I think this is all correct, if I'm not mistaken. So this is the picks and shit of what we're going to do tonight. I think this is, I'm pretty happy with this. I think there's going to be some great money on this card, to be honest with you. Despite being all favourites, I think the way that they win is there's going to be sneaky spots. I'm expecting the sublines to be pretty nice in this one because Luna's coming off a KO and Marshall doesn't tend to get subs. What's nice about the Marshall one as well is because it's early, you can hit that, and then if it fails, it fails. Do you know what I mean? You've got the whole rest of the card to play. It's not like you can do a parlay where that is the last one to come in. Do you know what I mean? Would not be surprised. So let's make some fucking money this week. We didn't do well last week, but we're gonna do some business this week. Let's fucking go. All right, that's Dash for the MMA Elevator. Thank you for watching. New channel, so please do like and subscribe. Thank you very much.